everybody. Welcome to This Day. It is Thursday and it's January 28th. Now, we don't have any meetings to tell you about that are open to you, so we'll just jump right on to who's on our show. We have Memorial Care Dr. Son. Actually, it's Dr. Soon, and he has some really great information to share with us. And then we have Francine Brokaw, who is the host of Beyond the Red Carpet, and she sits down with Mike Rowe, and he is such a nice guy. So we've got those for you today. Now let's go ahead and go to our COVID-19 vaccination update information. Now, this weekend, I am happy to report that we have received more doses, and we are going to be doing our vaccination distribution clinic January 29th through the 31st. So that's tomorrow through the 31st. There are no walk-ups allowed. We're sorry to say that we just don't have enough doses for everybody to do that. So we have done the rotation of names, and you will be notified, if you haven't been notified already, as to what time your vaccination time is. Now, if you want to know more about the vaccination information, you can call 949-594-2533. That is a hotline that you can get answers to all of your questions, but it is not an appointment maker. And please do not call resident services because it'll just direct you to that hotline. Now, if you want to know more information about what I've just talked about, you can go to Laguna Woods Village alerts.com. There is an FAQ there that pretty much should answer any question that you might have. Now, let's go on to our next slide, where we are going to tell you about the Soka University or the Disneyland vaccination distribution that is happening every day right now. And you can go to Othina.com to register to get an appointment for you to have your vaccinations done at either Soka University or Disneyland. Then, of course, you have occovid19.ochealthinfo.com for all of your vaccine phase information. Okay, our weather, we are going to cloud up here. We still have beautiful snow that just looks so close yet so far away. But it is going to be rainy again this weekend, and they're going to get more snow in the mountains. So today we are looking at cloudy and then PM showers tonight, and then tomorrow cloudy, rain, and some thunderstorms. Then Saturday, patchy clouds, 60-41. Sunday, partly sunny, 68-49. And then Monday, partly cloudy. Our sunrise this morning was at 6:50, and the sunset will be at 5:18. And thank you, Joel Goldstein, for sending this photo of the water tower. Really pretty. I love it when you guys send gorgeous photos, and it shows our beautiful blue sky. Although there was a great sunset last night, and we have some pictures that we'll show you in the next couple days. So if you would like to send in a photo of something around the town, please email it to lagunawoodsvillagetv@gmail.com. All right, when we return, we'll have Dr. Soon. Stay tuned.
At Dianes Hallmark, we're ready for Valentine's Day. Are you? Come in and see our great selection of cards and gifts. We have everything you need to show that special someone how much you care. And don't forget those grandkids either. Dianes Hallmark has many cards and gifts for them as well. Dianes Hallmark is located in the Marketplace Center, right next to Hobby Lobby. We have something for everyone. Come in today and take care of all your Valentine's Day needs.
Welcome back. Well, today I am joined by Dr. Roger Sohn, who is here on behalf of Memorial Care. He is an orthopedic surgeon in sports medicine. Well, Dr. Sohn, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be back on the show, Lisa.
Well, I'll tell you, we've all been trying to stay busy, and some people have been busier than others. And, I wonder if you can maybe address, we're going to talk about shoulder arthritis that leads to shoulder surgery. So maybe you can tell me, does shoulder arthritis develop when we are active or when we're not active?
Excellent question. Well, I think in general, I think the question is it good to be active? And I think the answer is yes, you should be active. But is there a point at which you can overdo it? And the answer is also yes. I think I can't tell you how many people I've seen during this pandemic who have been into a new sport. They can't go to the gym, and so they've picked up mountain biking or something else And some of these are really great, and they're definitely healthy activities. But I have had a couple of patients who have said, in their 60s or 70s, has said, I've picked up a new, weightlifting program, which I've never worked out this hard before. And lo and behold, they're starting to aggravate a shoulder, which has like an early amount of arthritis. So it certainly can make things worse if you're not careful about it. But no, in general, I tell people to be active. Being active is good. You've got to live your life, especially in these crazy times.
And that's a good point, because I remember talking to one of the gals who, she goes, yeah, I've lost like 40 pounds. And we're like, what? And she said, yeah, I've been exercising so much because there's really not much to do, right? So of course, naturally, you're going to have people come to you going, oh my gosh, I've never done this before. And now all of a sudden I'm doing it. So yeah, they do need to be careful. Like you said, even though it's important to exercise, they do have to be careful. When you talk about shoulder arthritis, what are some of the symptoms that would make us think it is arthritis and not just an injury?
Well, one of the hallmarks of shoulder arthritis, there are several, loss of range of motion. It doesn't usually happen suddenly. People start to gradually lose their range of motion. They notice as time goes on, they're having trouble raising their arm up to, maybe get into a shelf, or they, as they reach behind their back, to get dressed or wash during the shower, they notice that their range of motion isn't what it used to be. Mm-hmm. So loss of range of motion is one of them. It's usually painful. People start to notice that, especially at the extremes of range of motion, as they move their arm around, they start to feel pain in the shoulder. Another one is, it's not always a dead giveaway, but a lot of times people will have a crunchy sound. We call that crepitation, where they actually feel like something is actually a rough surface on the inside of the shoulder. And that's exactly what arthritis is. It's actually the breakdown of the smooth gliding surfaces of the glenohumeral joint, or the ball and socket joint of the shoulder. And so as the movement happens with these rough surfaces, people feel that sort of gritty or crunchy feeling as they move the shoulder.
Huh. That's not age restrictive though, is it? I mean, that can happen at any time.
I'll tell you, I recently had a 39-year-old gentleman who was telling me, I can't pick up my 2-year-old daughter. And, he ended up being a good candidate. We did a new type of replacement on his shoulder that allows him to remain active and without as much fear for the future of things loosening. But yes, it can happen at any age, but most of the time it does happen to people in their late 50s and in their 60s is when people start to really present to the doctor with arthritis, and x-rays will show that they do have this type of arthritic change in the shoulder.
I see. So let me ask you this now, instead of having a shoulder surgery or replace, I don't know if you replace shoulders, do you actually do that?
Yes, that is, you've probably heard of hip replacement and knee replacements. Shoulder replacements are much less common. They're about 2% of all the replacements that are done in this country. But yes, they are an important joint. And when the joint breaks down, we can replace it. The technology has really advanced. In the last 10 years, as I watched the technology improve, it's quite impressive. The stems have gotten much shorter. The plastic is getting better. And yes, we can replace the shoulder and have very reliable results. So yes, we do shoulder replacements.
Wow. That's crazy. I mean, like you said, technology is assisting in so many different things these days. We're going to turn into the bionic people. It would seem. I mean, you put enough stuff in you almost feel like you are. However, there are other treatments or other types of non-invasive things that you can do. What are some of those?
Yeah, absolutely. You hit on it earlier about being active, and many times people come to me and they've got a little bit of arthritis in the shoulder, and we'll get them on an exercise routine, a stretching routine. We want them to maintain their flexibility, have good posture. A physical therapist can really help with this. And some people who have more moderate arthritis, where arthritis is one of these things where you get a flare up of your pain, then it calms down. And people are able to take things like anti-inflammatory pills. You've probably heard of Aleve, Motrin, Mobic, Meloxicam. These types of medications are really good at reducing those flare-ups. But a lot of times our strategies are aimed at when someone comes to me and they're in acute pain, they have a flare-up and their shoulder is hurting, they can't sleep, they're having trouble doing even basic tasks. A lot of times we can get it better by putting a cortisone injection in the joint, because that just breaks the cycle and it reduces the amount of swelling and pain in the shoulder, and they can get back to that level where they previously were, where it wasn't quite so painful. So those are some of the things that we can do earlier on in the earlier stages of arthritis.
What are some of the restrictions with cortisone though? I had some elbow injuries before, and I understood that there's only so many cortisone injections that you could actually do. Is that true?
You've heard correctly. And I think in the olden days, people used to get a lot of these injections because the doctors and the health community, we just weren't aware of the side effects. I'm talking about a decade ago. More recently, we've been more aware of these. We know that if you get too many cortisone injections, that it causes the cartilage to break down a little bit faster. We know this from the knee literature, for example. It also can weaken the tendons and ligaments in the area. But we think a safe amount is if you get 2 or maybe 3 in the, like one shoulder during a year's space of time, that's safe to do. And so I have several patients who come back once or twice a year and they get their cortisone injections. But of course, it's not going to cure the problem. It's not really there. It's not going to put the cartilage back in the joint. And a lot of times people live with some limitations. They know that their shoulder is still not what it used to be. It has some arthritis in it, but they would rather have some non-invasive treatments like an injection just to keep them out of pain.
Right. Well, I would imagine that, you do have to have some recovery time with surgery, and therefore, maybe people can't take off work or whatever the case might be. So they use this Band-Aid to get them by. However, at some point it's not going to work and they're going to have to end up having surgery in the long run. So what kind of surgery are we talking about, and what is the recovery like?
Great question. It's come a long ways. The surgery is still a traditional replacement of the shoulder joint. Like I alluded to earlier, though, the implants have gotten a lot smaller. We used to have these big stems that look like hip implants that would go down the humerus. Now they even have stemless implants that we use. It allows us to make smaller incisions. It allows us to have less blood loss, and it allows us to send people home much quicker. So even before COVID happened, we were sending the majority of our patients home the same day as surgery, not just for shoulder replacement, but for other joints as well. And I think a lot of good things came out of this that COVID accelerated. So as the hospitals became aware of the limitations in supply and just the beds and so forth, they've been encouraging us to do as many of these surgeries as we can on an outpatient basis. But thankfully, because of the buildup over the last several years of the expertise we've developed in doing these as outpatients, that was not really a problem. So typically what happens is we get the surgery. It can be done at the hospital as an outpatient procedure, or it can be done like, for example, Saddleback has a surgery center, which is not technically even an inpatient visit. So the patient can be sent home from the recovery room. We place a nerve block so the arm is comfortable afterwards. They go home to recover. Patients feel comfortable recovering at home. They feel safer there. They're in their own environment. Right. So the first week after surgery, people are generally in a sling and they're not doing too much with the shoulder. We ask them to start doing some what we call pendulum exercises, where they swing and dangle the arm. And then we start some physical therapy after we check the wound. But generally after about 6 weeks, it's safe for them to do most activities around the house. That includes driving, that includes, grooming and cooking and things of that nature. Most around here, we have a lot of golfers. Golfers usually aren't going to be swinging a club till about the 3-month mark. And usually between 3 and 4 months is when they really get back on the golf course.
That's not too long. I mean, you know what, if you've been suffering this whole time with a shoulder injury, then, might be well worth the time, because then for the rest of your life, you shouldn't have to be worrying about your shoulder.
That's exactly right. It's an investment like anything else. And you asked about the recovery. There is a partnership. I ask my patients to observe certain precautions, and people do get what they put into it. So if patients do, do their part and they follow the restrictions and do their physical therapy, they generally are happy with the investment of time.
Right. Well, that's awesome news. And then one last thing, we all want to be able to prevent something like this from happening. Although you're not going to be able to tell people to stop playing tennis, or stop playing pickleball, or stop lifting weights, because they're all still going to do it. But what are some things that we can do to prevent this from happening?
Well, that's a great question. I think one thing to keep in mind as you think about the answer to that question, or the way I think about it, is arthritis doesn't usually happen as a sudden event. It usually happens as a culmination of many small injuries to the shoulder, or just a gradual decline in the cartilage thickness of the shoulder. So that being said, many people will come to me and they have a very, very early stage of arthritis, like a grade 1 arthritis. And if they're very low, I tell them, look, you've got many years left of service on this shoulder joint. So if you're gentle with it, you will get a lot more, and you don't necessarily have to get to the point where you need something surgical done about it. So I go back to the first question you ask, is it good to be active? Yes, it's good to be active, but again, be kind to your joints. You only get a certain amount of cartilage when you're born. And as we get older, it's like a bank account. We spend that cartilage, and once it's gone, it's gone. There's no getting it back. And at least as of right now, as of today's filming, we don't have the technology to put the cartilage back in the joint. I think at some point that will be there. That's kind of the next frontier, if we can get there. But right now we don't have that. So yes, be kind to your joints. Try to make them last a long time. Don't go out and start a new, CrossFit gym or something like this. Now is not the time for that. You want to maintain. Maintenance is the name of the game.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate the information.
Thanks, Lisa. It's always a pleasure to be on your show.
All right. Thank you. We'll be right back after this.
At the Memorial Care Breast Center, Saddleback, you will always find a friendly face to guide you through your annual mammogram visit. Our staff, dedicated subspecialist breast radiologists, knowledge, and innovative technology await your visit to our center. With the Laguna Woods shuttle service right at our sidewalk, this convenient location offers you quick access for your appointment. You can expect nothing but the best for all your breast health needs at Memorial Care Breast Center, Saddleback.
Francine,
Hey,
how
glad
are
to
you?
be able to finally see you. I've tried to interview for years. This new series, 6 Degrees. What you have so many great series that deal with reality. Did you come up with this, or did they bring it to you to originally?
Neither. I actually stole it from a terrific guy named James Burke, who hosted a show called Connections back in the late 70s, early 80s. And he took a more serious look at describing the surprising ways we were connected through technology and invention. He was this English guy who wore a white leisure suit and stomped around the countryside explaining why it was the tracks left by the early chariots are of the exact same dimension as the tracks on the moon left by the lunar lander. How could it be possible, right? So I love the way he approached that kind of storytelling. And so in 6 Degrees, each episode starts with a truly stupid question, like a ridiculous idea, like a sheep can do your taxes, how a volcano redeemed Eminem's career, how a mousetrap can cure your hangover. And for an hour, I get to explain how such a thing is possible by using any production device I want. So sometimes it's puppets, sometimes it's animation, sometimes it's archival footage, sometimes it's recreations, sometimes it's my old buddy Chuck assuming the identity of another historical figure. It could be anything.
I love the one where you start with the Civil War and the meat, and it just spirals into where we are today. It's amazing how these things like domino effect from way back with historical facts and bring them to how they affect us today.
Well, this is the thing about history, and it's the thing about facts. Well, we all now have access to all of the facts we've ever known, thanks to this thing, right? We've got 99% of the information in the world at our fingertips. The trick is to figure out a new way to juxtapose those facts and the events of the past to get us to a surprising point. And you'll learn some things along the way about topics you probably didn't know you cared about. And that's what I wanted to do. My dad taught history for 30 years, and he told me many times, look, it's not about what happened. It's about making people give a damn about what happened. So you have to make it relevant in some way or entertaining. We're trying to do both.
It is entertaining because it's not preachy. It's how you evolve everything from one to another to another. And you are in there talking to the viewers, like breaking the fourth wall. Is that fun to do, or instead of just reading from a script and doing, I knew you do a lot of voiceovers and stuff, do you just like moving around and talking to the viewers?
Well, look, yes, but I don't break the fourth wall. I know that's the expression.
Yeah.
I try to ignore the fourth wall. It's like there is no wall. So I've done a fair amount of stuff in the scripted world. And in the scripted world, there is a wall. You start with a script and everything is an illusion. But if you're really going to work in a genre called nonfiction or reality, then I don't think you should get a second take. And so it doesn't matter what show I'm on, whether it's Dirty Jobs or Returning the Favor, somebody's got to do it, 6 Degrees. There's always a truth cam, just a behind the scenes camera that documents the making of the project. And I always use some of that footage through the hour to remind the viewer that they are there with us. Because the thing Dirty Jobs and 6 Degrees have in common, and at a glance, you would say these don't have anything in common, but actually the thing they really share is we're trying to bring you into the business of making the show with us. So that's a long way to answer your question. I guess I could have just said yes. It's important to bring the viewer along, no matter what you're doing.
It's fun because whatever you do, we feel like as viewers, you are our friend. And personally, I'd love to have you as my friend because you're just so down to earth. And the way you have presented all your shows. Now, let me ask you, you mentioned the British guy in the white leisure suit. Are jeans and a t-shirt basically your attire of your life now?
Honestly, you know what? It's 2003 and people have seen me more or less like that, t-shirt, ball cap. So for 6 Degrees, I thought, you know what? I'm going to be the Dirty Jobs guy just so people know me. And that's the only thing I wear in all 6 episodes. I travel through time on a budget, right? And I never change my clothes. So yes, that will probably reinforce that perception. But the thing you pointed out that's interesting to me, and the luckiest thing that ever happened to me, is that I had a show that was successful, but it wasn't as a result of a character I played. I'm not George Costanza. Poor Jason Alexander is recognized for the rest of his life as George Costanza. That would drive me crazy to be recognized only as a character. I got very lucky because if you like me, because you think you know me, then the truth is you do know me. I didn't play a character, for better or worse. This is me. Doesn't matter what the show's called.
Well, you have tons of fans, and we will look forward to 6 Degrees with Micro on Discovery Plus, a streaming channel. And I thank you very much for sharing your time with us.
I hope we can do this in person next time, Francis.
I do
over
too.
a civilized cup of coffee or an adult beverage or something.
We'll do it. Talk to your publicist and we'll do it. Thank you.
I got to get a publicist. That's what I got to do.
Oh, darn it. Yes. Okay. Take care.
See ya. Bye.
Welcome back. I'm Kiana Lee. With us today is Dr. Christine Chung of 7-Day Dental. She has great news for seniors. Doctor, why don't you tell us the exciting news? Mom.
We know there are many seniors living with tooth pain. 7-Day Dental is starting a new program called Seniors First. Seniors who are 65 years or older will get initial free exams and x-rays.
That is so nice, doctor. Call your nearest 7-Day Dental to get your 7-Day Dental smile.
Welcome back. I wanted to go over the vaccination distribution notes for the weekend. So just to let you know that we did receive 2,200 doses, and we are starting our vaccination distribution again this Friday, January 29th through the 31st. Now, you should have already received your appointments, and if you have not, then hang tight. They will be in touch with you as soon as possible. And please do not call resident services about the vaccination program or appointments. You need to call the hotline, which is 949-594-2533. Resident Services does not know anything about this. They'll just redirect you to the hotline that I just mentioned. And also, there are no walk-ups this weekend. There is no additional doses that are available, so please do not show up without your appointment. And if you would like more information about how the vaccination program works, you can go to lagunawoodsvillagealerts.com. There is lots of information there, as well as an FAQ for you. Okay, a couple of other things that I just wanted to go over is, like I mentioned, please do not show up to the site without your appointment. If there are no shows, they will contact you, but as of now, this weekend, they don't anticipate that happening. Now, do not attend your appointment if you have COVID-19, you recently had COVID-19, or you have been exposed. And of course, once your name has been selected, you will be contacted. Now, another thing that's very important is many of you have already received your first vaccination. That does not mean that you are completely covered. You need to receive your second vaccine in order to be 94% protected. So make sure that you do get that second dose. And most of the people who are going this weekend will receive a vaccination card, and it has the date and time of your next appointment for you to receive your second dose. Okay, let's take a look at our weather one last time. It's looking quite lovely, and you know, if you look out there at that mountain, it just makes me want to go skiing. It's just beautiful up there. Look at that. All right, we are looking at some rain, though, in the next couple days, which means more snow for our mountains. Clouds and then PM showers tonight, and then tomorrow cloudy with some rain and potential thunderstorms, 57-42. Then on Saturday, patchy clouds, 60-41. Sunday, partly sunny, 68-49. And then Monday, partly cloudy, 66-45. Now, we will be visiting with Jeff Parker tomorrow with an update on our show at 9 a.m. Otherwise, you can watch us again here at 12:30 and 5. Have a great day in the village. We'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Improving your hearing is the most effective way to prevent cognitive decline. Research shows your brain cannot remember what it doesn't hear. Hi, I'm Ann Mundell-Noel, audiologist and owner of Amazing Hearing. Hearing loss makes understanding harder when others are wearing masks while doing Zoom calls, FaceTime, and watching TV. It's time to enjoy conversations again. Call Amazing Hearing to schedule your hearing appointment. We are the experts and we accept some insurances.
Parkinson's disease is a neurological movement disorder affecting an estimated 1 million Americans, including many under age 40. The American Parkinson Disease Association is the largest grassroots network in the United States, working to help ease the burden and find the cure for those coping with Parkinson's. Visit apdaoptimism.org today to find out how you can help millions live with dignity and optimism. Your action today will help APDA put an end to Parkinson's disease.
Why do I love being a doctor at Kaiser Permanente?
My only job is to take great care of my patients. I'm empowered to do what's right for you.
Our digital records mean your medical history is in one place, so I can give you great care.
Your primary care doctor, your specialists. It's great. We all work together as one team.
Our integrated approach to healthcare helps my patients live longer, healthier lives.
I don't just practice here, I'm a patient too. I wouldn't trust my family's healthcare to anyone else.